Hi everyone, this is Bethany. I was putting together a sequence today and thought that I would share it with all of you, knowing that we're unable to get into a yoga studio today, and I put together a sequence called Ice Storm, and I wanted to share it with you. And whenever I sequence, I always have an intention behind what I'm doing and why, and the motivation behind the sequencing physically and emotionally, energetically, how I'm feeling and what I need. And so this is what I put together today. I'm going to start off with a little reading to just get you in the right frame of mind. So you probably had plans for today, and now this storm has thrown you for a loop. And life is like that. We all tell ourselves that these things happen, but then we allow feelings of being stuck or being helpless to take us over. And these feelings lead to frustration and fear. So allow yourself to take a moment and breathe deeply in. And acknowledge that the storm outside is undoubtedly beyond our control. But you decide what storms you allow inside. And now is a time for decisions on weathering storms. And you may decide to dwell on what has been taken away from you, or on what can't be done right now. That is the obvious and well-trodden path. Or you may decide to look at it differently, to see the things that couldn't have been done until a storm arrived. Either way, you are making a choice. And that shows us that we do have some control, after all, certainly over our internal world, and our thoughts, and our actions. And whether you choose a lower path or a higher will play a very defining role in your life. One road leads to disappointment and dissatisfaction. There will always be places we cannot go, things we cannot do. And the other road offers the chance for discovery and understanding and contentment. When travel is not possible, stillness is. When activity is not possible, reflection is. When plans are not possible, new opportunities become so. An ice storm is a perfect opportunity to remind ourselves that we are not frozen and that we are always making choices. Let's choose the things that make us happy and that are best for us and for those in our lives. We're going to begin our yoga practice now, our physical practice. So what I'd suggest is just getting your mat, finding a spot in your home or office, wherever you are, where you have enough space around you where you feel like you can breathe easily and deeply. And if you don't have yoga props, that's fine. Just grab a few towels, and if you don't have blocks, you can grab books and use them as props. Just improvise and work with what you have. Now we're going to come to our mat and take an active child's pose. So bring your knees just to the inside edges of your mat. Put the tops of your feet down with your big toes to touch. Lengthen your arms long out in front of you. Place your forehead onto the mat Ease the hips, the buttocks back towards the heels. If your bottom does not touch your heels, totally fine. As your thighs and low back lengthen, open, and relax, your buttocks will come closer to the heels. What's more important is that your forehead is onto the mat and that the back of your neck feels long. Make an adjustment so that you feel the lengthening come through the neck and the back of the head. Also, if you are tight into the chest area or you tend to hold a lot of tension up into the neck and shoulders, take your arms a little bit further apart than shoulder distance, slightly wider, and give yourself some space to breathe. Begin breathing in and out through your nose. If your breath does not come in and out of the body easily, or you feel congested, or you have anxiety, or maybe you're feeling a little bit lethargic, then go in the nose and out the mouth a few times. And this is a cleansing breath, and it really starts to wake up the body and the mind to bring awareness and consciousness to your breath. And then as you become aware of the breath, conscious of the breath, comfortable with it coming in and out, switch to breathing through your nose only. Your inhalations and your exhalations should last the same length of time. You may need to make some other physical adjustments to the body so that you can totally relax. And so if you have your knees too wide, it's too much strain onto the low back and the hip, you want your inner upper thigh touching the lowest ribs. If the legs are too close together, for a lot of folks it causes some gripping and also some closing into the chest. So you want to find that space where you feel equally open all over and you can relax but feel supported. We're going to take 5 more breaths here. Now you can set an intention for your class, and I shared with you some of the motivation behind and the intention behind me putting this sequence together. On top of that, I also try to focus on a few other things, so I'll share with you those intentions. And so this practice is about finding freedom, calm, and inner strength when facing unplanned events. You can use that intention or set one for yourself. 2 more breaths. Once you set an intention, release it into the universe with total trust. Just let it go. And at the bottom of your exhalation, take your low belly in, up, and back. On your next inhale, press up onto all 4s. And line up your wrists underneath your shoulders. Line up your knees underneath your hips. You can choose to keep the tops of your feet down, or you can tuck your toes forward. Feel what's appropriate, comfortable for your body, your mind at this moment. We're going to move into a series of 6 cat-cows. With a long and neutral spine, take an inhalation breath. And on the exhale, round your back towards the sky. This is the cat pose, tucking the chin, tucking the tail. And on the inhalation, start lifting from the chest, spine coming toward the mat, lifting through the tail. This is the cow. And as you exhale, round into the back, coming into cat. Moving into 5 more rounds of cat-cows. The motions in your body should mirror and match your breath. So no stuttering, no hiccuping, no gripping in the breath. Move at a pace that works with your breathing. You may want to bend your elbows in between your cats and cows. And when you come into the pose, fully elongate, straight, and strengthen the arms so that you can get a deep, deep stretch. Each pose becoming a little deeper than the last. You may also want to move your hips slightly forward and slightly back. You can move your hips from side to side. Keep breathing. One more round. And as you finish up with your last round of cat-cow, bring yourself into a neutral position, tucking the toes forward now. Spreading the fingers wide, making sure the hands look the same on either side of the mat. Hands are shoulder distance apart. Take an inhale breath. Fill through the upper back, opening across the shoulder blades. And on the exhale, lift the hips up and back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog pose. Move your toes back about 2 inches away from your hands. You want a proper length in the downward facing dog. If you're not sure if you've got the proper length, you can always rock forward into a high push-up plank, lining up your shoulders over your wrists, lining up your heels over the crease in your toes, and then lifting up and back from your core. And that should give you the proper distance. Most people's heels don't touch the floor, but if you're particularly flexible, they probably will. Then the head and the neck relax. Strengthen the arms. Now let's walk the dog. Bending alternate knees. Take a little hang time in each of your heels. You can lift up one leg and drop the heel towards the opposite buttocks, opening up into the hip, opening up into the side body. Make circular motions with your ankles, go in both directions. Keep breathing evenly, deeply. If you know Ujjayi style breathing, you should use it. It's a conqueror's breath. Whatever you do on one side, do on the other side for the same length of time. If you choose to lift one leg up, be mindful that you keep your weight evenly distributed across your hands and your shoulders so that you're moving with control, with conscious awareness of everything that you're doing. And then we'll all meet up into the downward facing dog, taking 2 more breaths here. Downward facing dog is a resting position, but it's also a place to realign and to reconnect with your breathing. If at any time it's not restful for you, you can always take the active child's pose that we started in. And gently look to the space between your hands and walk up into that space, taking the feet hip distance or slightly wider. Hang forward from the hips. Grab opposite elbows, putting your thumbs into the creases of your elbows, lining up the elbows directly underneath your shoulders. Relax your head. And you can turn your head right and left in a no motion. Nod your head yes. You can take the head around in circular motions. Just balance out all sides of your neck. And make sure that if you have a back injury or you're pregnant, that your hands are actually touching the floor. You have some support, and also bend your knees so that you have support with the upper to the lower body. There should be enough space between your feet that you feel comfortable. Now, still the head, switch the grip. Bring the other forearm forward. And now the hips move from side to side. As the hips go left, the torso goes right. You can bend alternate knees, deepening the sway. Take a little bit of weight forward towards your toes so that you're lining up your hips over your ankles. Keep breathing evenly through the nose, and each time you exhale, extending through the side bodies, through the spine, lengthening, getting closer and closer with your chest towards the mat. Balance out your sides and come center line. Let the arms hang down like a rag doll. If you're back injured or you're pregnant, keep your feet hip distance. Bend your knees and walk your hands up your thighs. Otherwise, toe heel your feet together. Hit your thighs back. Pull in your low belly. Tuck your tail and round yourself upright. When you're vertical, take the shoulders back and down twice. And we're going to move into a series of sun salutations to get warm. If you feel like you need a quick sip of water here, go ahead and take some. And then come to the top of your mat, bringing your hands to heart center. Focus, forward, soft gaze. We're going to take the first 2 rounds of sun salutation A on the slower side. On an inhale breath, raise your arms above your head into Urdhva Hastasana, upward hands pose. And on the exhalation, bow forward into Uttanasana, deep forward bend. Take your left foot and step it back. Put the knee down and the top of the foot to the ground. On an inhale, raise the arms and torso up and back. This is called low lunge. Place the hands to the mat. Step back into high push-up plank. Bend the elbows straight back and lower chaturanga all the way to the floor. Lie flat. Put the tops of your feet down. Keep your hands where they are. On an inhalation, lift the chest up into Bhujangasana Cobra. And as you exhale, tuck the toes, press up and back into downward facing dog. Take the left foot, step it forward. Put the right knee down, top of the foot to the ground. Inhale, torso up and back. On the exhale, put the hands down, step forward to the top of the mat, fold in. Inhale, come up. Take a tiny arc back, and on the exhale breath, bow down. Take the right foot back, put the knee to the ground, top of the foot down. Inhale, up and back, low lunge. Exhale, hands go down, step back, lower chaturanga to the floor. Lie flat, tops of the feet down. Inhale, Bhujangasana Cobra. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana Down Dog. On an inhale, step the right foot forward, put the left knee down. Inhaling, low lunge. Step forward and fold in. Inhale, come all the way up. Take a tiny arc back, and on the exhale breath, bow it down. Left foot goes back, knee to the ground. Inhaling, low lunge. Move the hips, pelvis further forward. Hands go down, step back, lower chaturanga, all the way to the floor. Inhaling, cobra. Exhaling, tuck the toes down, dog. Left foot steps up. Inhaling, low lunge. Hands to the mat, step forward and fold in. Inhale, come all the way up, take a tiny arc back, and on the exhale, bow down. Take the right foot back with the knee to the ground, low lunge, pelvis moving forward, upper body up and back. Hands to the mat, step back, lower chaturanga, all the way down to the floor. Inhaling, cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Take the right foot, step it up. Come up and fold in. Inhale, go all the way up, arc it back, let's speed it up. Bow it down, left foot back, knee to the ground, lunge. Hands to the mat, step back, lower chaturanga, inhaling to upward facing dog. Exhaling into downward facing dog. Take the left foot, step it up. Low lunge. Come forward, fold in. Inhale, go all the way up, arc back, exhale, and bow down. Right side, knee to the ground. Inhale. Exhale, step back, lower chaturanga, inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling into downward facing dog. Take the right foot, step it up, low lunge. Come up and fold in. Work for straight legs. Inhale, go all the way up. Arc it back. Exhale, bow forward. Last A. Left foot back, knee to the ground. Inhaling, low lunge. Exhale, step it back, chaturanga. Inhale, big chest in the upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take the left foot, step it up, low lunge. Come up and fold in deeper each time. Inhale, up, arc it back. Exhale, bow forward. Right foot back, knee goes down. Hands to the mat, step back, lower chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Take the right foot, step it forward, low lunge. Hands to the mat, fold in, stay in your forward fold. Toe heel the feet apart. Take some space so that you can relax. And take deep breaths. You should feel as though your inner upper thighs can roll slightly in and press back. Inner knees moving back faster than outer knees. Lower belly draws in. Distribute the weight evenly across the feet. Use the hands, fingertips or palms pressing down in the mat to help you pull your shoulders back away from your neck. Take a couple cleansing breaths here. Go in the nose and out the mouth. And then breathe through your nose, smooth your breath, relax your thoughts, and just notice if your thoughts have a tendency to drift, if when you meet with any kind of difficulty in your practice that you become negative or irritated, and this is a great place to just release that and come back into this moment. All is well. Toe heel your feet together. Bend your knees and sit down into an imaginary chair. If you need to modify, you keep your feet hip distance apart. The arms are extended. You're sitting down into an imaginary chair. The knees are side by side, feet side by side ideally, heels pressing down firmly, low belly in, chest lifted. You don't have to look up. If it's comfortable, that's fine. Otherwise, just keep the neck in line with the rest of your spine. It's more important your chest can open. And then shoot it up, and on the exhale breath, bow forward. Now look up halfway, and now you can step or jump back and lower chaturanga. Inhale into the upward facing dog and exhale into the downward facing dog. Take your left foot forward for warrior one. Spin the outer edge of the right foot down. Left knee bends 90 degrees. Torso upright. Square the ribs and the shoulders to the top of your mat. Reaching up, reaching back. Exhale, put the hands down. Step back and lower chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. Take the right foot, step it forward into the warrior one. Spin the outer edge of the left foot down. Right knee bending 90 degrees. Torso upright, square the ribs, square the shoulders to the top of your mat, lift and reach up through the arms. And on the exhale, put the hands down, step back and lower. Inhaling, curl the chest open, and exhale into the downward facing dog. Take 2 breaths here. Look up. Step or jump. Exhale and fold in. Bend your knees and sit down low into your chair. When you sit in your chair, shift some weight towards the heels. Squeeze the inner knees together. Press them forward. If you were to glance down towards the knees, you should be able to see the tips of your big toes. Be mindful. Don't push the knees too far forward. Beautiful. Shoot it up. And on the exhale breath, bow down. Look up halfway. Step or jump it back and lower chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to add some variations. Listen to the instruction. We're going to take the left foot up for the warrior two. The left foot faces directly forward toward the top of the mat. The right foot is pulled in about 30 degrees. Turn the chest away from the left thigh so that the chest torso is facing the right side of the room. Open the arms at shoulder height and bring your gaze to the left. Taking 2 more breaths here. Each time you inhale, lift the ribs up off of the waist. As you exhale, keep all of that height and length in your spine. Strengthen the legs. Push the inner thighs apart. We're going to add a variation called ostrich. Take an interlaced grip. If you cannot interlace comfortably with straight arms, then you should take a strap or a towel in between your hands. Inhale, lengthen up, and on the exhale, fold to the inside of the left thigh. Back injury pregnancy, lay left side body on left thigh. Relax the head, relax the neck, and amp up your back leg, your right leg. Pull in the low belly. Draw the shoulders away from the neck. As you pull the shoulder blades down, your arms will come more deeply over. Some of you, your head will even touch the floor near the ankle. Beautiful. Place the hands down on either side of the foot. Step back. Try not to drag your foot. Lower down. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Take a cleansing breath if you need it. Breathe through your shoulders. Breathe through your hips. And we're going to take the right foot up for the warrior two. The right foot and knee is facing the top of your mat. Your left foot is turned in about 30 degrees. Arms are extended at shoulder height. The torso is facing away from your right leg. Torso facing left side of the room. Your gaze is to the right. As you inhale, lift the ribs, lift the waist up off of the hips. As you exhale, keep all that length, all of that distance and length and space in your spine. When you exhale, you engage your legs, squeeze the outer thighs, come a little deeper into the pose. Strong like a warrior. And then we're going to interlace. Take the opposite interlace from the last time. It's the grip you don't want. Take an inhale breath, lengthen, lift. On the exhale, fold to the inside of your leg. Take the modification, right side body to thigh for back injury or pregnancy. Work to straighten the arms so that you're feeling the entire length of the arm. Squeeze at the shoulder, strengthen at the elbow, lengthen at the wrist, lengthen in the palms. Pull the shoulder blades down. Amp up your back leg, push into your left heel, bend your right knee more. Let your head and neck relax. Maybe your head will even touch the floor. Slowly with control, release, put the hands down. Step back, lower. Inhale, lift the chest, upward facing dog. Exhale, press up and back, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Make subtle adjustments so that your downward facing dog is a place where you can restore, where you can reconnect with your breath and align. You can rest. Good. Look up and step or jump. Exhale and fold in. Bend the knees and sit down in your chair. Sit down super low. Shift some weight into the heels, lifting through the chest. Shoot it up, and on the exhale breath, bow it down. Look up halfway. Step or jump it back and lower. Inhaling, up dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Taking your left foot up for the warrior 2. Look to the right. Take an inhale breath. Get taller, longer as you exhale. Slide to the left, extending the entire left side body over the left thigh. Put the left hand down in front or behind your ankle. Take the right arm up or over. If you're back injured or pregnant, you line up your arm with your shoulder. Otherwise, bring it all the way over toward the top of your mat. Wrap the shoulder so that the inner upper arm turns toward the mat. Turn the chest away from the mat. Those of you that would like to bind, take your left arm under and your right arm behind. Binding. You can use your towels. You can use your straps. If you need to modify the pose, you can put your left elbow on your left thigh and bring your right arm behind your back and grab either your clothing or your inner upper left thigh. Go to where you can. Pull the shoulder blades down. Turn the ribs away from the floor. Push the inner thighs apart. One more breath here. And release. Place the hands down. Step back and lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale into the downward facing dog. Take a cleansing breath. Go take your right foot, step it forward, warrior 2. Look to the left. Take an inhale breath, get taller, longer. On the exhale breath, extend to the right. Lengthen the entire right side body until your armpit comes in line with your knee. Place your hand either in front or behind your ankle. Take the other arm up or over. Those of you that were bound on the other side, you'll repeat that on this side, taking now the right arm under and the left arm behind. Or if you modified the pose for your binding, put your right forearm onto your thigh and bring the left arm behind, grabbing inner upper right thigh or clothing. Go to where you can. And begin to connect with your breath so that you're using your breath to help you deepen the pose, but also to invigorate your spirit. You want to lift, open through the chest, lengthen through the spine, strengthen in the legs so you're feeling grounded. And in feeling grounded, you feel as though you have freedom to adjust, to turn the chest more, to lift the heart better, to relax the face more. Change. Put the hands to the mat, step back and lower. Inhaling and then exhaling into the downward facing dog. 2 breaths. Look up and step or jump. Exhale and fold in. Bend your knees and sit down nice and low into your chair. This is going to be your last B. Make it count. Shoot it up. And on the exhale, bow it down. Look up halfway. Step or jump it back, lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale into the downward facing dog. Take your left foot, step it forward for warrior one. As soon as you are up, you come right back down. Flow through a vinyasa, inhaling to up dog, exhaling to down dog, and then taking your right foot forward, warrior one. And as soon as you're up, you'll come back down. Flowing through your vinyasa, we'll all meet up into the downward facing dog, and this time taking 5 breaths. If you need to rest, honor your body, honor your mind, rest. It would be better to rest now, pacing yourself, relaxing, allowing yourself to enjoy being in the moment so that you can go through the entire practice as opposed to forcing on the front end and then withering on the back end of the practice. We must build up to moving through the entire practice. And then we just want to challenge you more and more. Anyway, this is how life works. You want to keep it interesting. If you're holding your downward facing dog, amp up your down dog more. Strong arms, strong legs, low belly in. The more you pull your low belly in, the more your neck can relax. Good. And look up. And step or jump. And exhale and fold in. Bend your knees, sit down into your chair. Shoot it up. And bring your hands to your heart. Let's have some water. So take a moment here and get whatever you need for the rest of your practice. You may need another towel. You may find that you want another beverage. I know it's snowing, but water or Gatorade or something that's good for you. You can have wine later. And then come to the top of your mat and we'll move into the rest of our practice. Now this practice is 1 hour, so it's just a little taste of yoga, but certainly enough to hopefully invigorate you and find you more centered and bringing a little of the hot yoga goodness into your home. Come to the top of your mat, toes, heels, ankles to touch unless you're modifying. Bring your hands to heart center. Take an inhale breath, reach up, stretch up tall, and on the exhale breath, bow forward. On the inhale, look up halfway, and on the exhale, step or jump it back, lowering. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale into the downward facing dog. Align your down dog. Take your left foot and step it forward for Prasarita Padottanasana, separate leg forward fold. When you come up, turn both of your feet so that they're facing the right long side of your mat. So your right foot will already kind of be that way. Your left foot will need to turn. And then come upright, straight legs. Place your hands onto your hips. Loop your tail under, lift your chest, roll your shoulders back, and on the exhale breath, fold forward. Placing your hands onto the mat. Drag the chest forward on an inhale with straight arms. I like to line up my arms underneath my shoulders. You may even want to walk your hands a little further forward. Lift through the chest more, lift through the seat better. Keep your belly strong. And then bend your elbows. If you're able, bend your elbows until your forearms come down towards the floor and walk back that way. Get a ton of length into your spine. Once you are back through the legs, grab each of your ankles into your palms. Bend your elbows to the right and left and place the head onto the floor. If your head does not touch your floor, or your buttocks does not lift, you feel as though your buttocks is sinking down towards the heels, bend your knees until you feel your torso come towards the thighs, through the thighs, the chest open, the shoulders back, and you can lift your sitting bones skyward. Take the time to make these subtle adjustments. One of the nicest things actually about a home practice is that there's not a bunch of other people in the room, certainly not people who really do yoga. And so you have an opportunity to make some adjustments and try some new things that maybe you wouldn't in a class setting. And now from here, take 3 more breaths. And just allow yourself to feel the pose as you ground evenly through your feet. Distribute the weight evenly through the feet. Lift the seat a little higher. Draw the shoulders back. Move your heart and your spine closer to the mat. Good. Release your hands from your ankles. Walk your hands forward. Place your hands onto your hips. Drop your tail. Lift your chest and come up. Toe heel in 1 time. Turn your right foot in 30 degrees. Turn your left foot so it faces the top of your mat. Extend your arms to the right and to the left. We're going to go into Utthita Trikonasana. This is the triangle pose. Take an inhale, lengthen up, keep your legs straight. On the exhale, extend out and over to the left, putting your left hand down and your right arm up. If you don't touch the floor with your hand easily, you have a couple of options. You can use your block or your books, put them behind your left ankle, or you can rest your hand on your shin. Be mindful not to press too hard onto the shin. You want one line across your shoulders, so if you are taking height, be mindful that you're not cranking your top arm up towards the ceiling. You want from middle finger to middle finger across in one line. You don't have to see it, just feel it. You can tell if you're cranking your neck also. You'll feel like your shoulder's trying to eat your neck. From here, we're going to engage the right leg, then engage your left leg. If you're able, engage both legs at the same time. Take your low belly in. Turn the ribs from left to right. Lengthen the spine. Lift through the heart, and if it's comfortable for you, turn and look up at your right thumb. If it's not, just keep your chin in line with your breastbone. 1 more breath. And to take this pose into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon, put your right hand on your hip. Bend your left knee deeply. Move your left hand forward. Bring your blocks or your books with you if you're using them. And you want to come forward with that left hand about 6 to 12 inches. Let's go to where it's comfortable, where you can put your hand down comfortably. Forward of the foot on the pinky toe side. If you're able in one motion, take an inhale and on the exhale, lift the right leg up. Hip height. Standing in your left leg. When you have your balance, lift your right arm up. Tuck your tail under, pull your low belly in. Strengthen your legs, strengthen your arms, lift your heart, turn your ribs. Your ribs are turning just like triangle, left to right on this side. Beautiful. Place the hand down for balance, and then step the feet up to the top of your mat. Bend your knees and sit down into an imaginary chair. Bring your hands to heart center. Take an inhale breath. And on the exhale breath, take your right elbow to the outside of your left thigh. Turn and twist your chair. Taking 1 more breath. You can open your pose if you like. Put your right hand down and left arm up. Turn, twist more, sit back more deeply, lift the chest higher. Beautiful release. Place the hands to the floor. Look up halfway. Step or jump it back and lower down. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling into the downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here. Whatever challenges that brought up for you, breathe through it. Acknowledge what's going on. And then allow yourself, in a very kind way, to focus on the breath and come back into this moment. And we're going to do the other side. Take your right foot, step it up. Prasarita Padottanasana. Come up with straight legs. Turn your feet to the left side of your mat. So your left foot's already that way. Turn your right foot so it's facing the same way as the left. Here, those of you that are familiar with Shirsasana 2, the tripod headstand, when we get down to the floor, you can press up into a headstand if you'd like. Otherwise, place your hands onto your hips, loop your tail under, draw your low belly in, roll your shoulders back, and on the exhale breath, come forward. Everyone places the hands to the floor, walking back, and you can either grab your outer ankle bones, as you did in the first side, or those of you pressing up into the headstand, go ahead up. Thighs rotate internally, lower belly pulls in, shoulders pull away from the neck, and this goes for those of you who are in your forward fold and also for those of you who are in Shirsasana 2. Smooth your breath. And we're going to take 4 more breaths, so we get the benefit of forward folds by holding them a little bit longer than some of the other style poses. They're meant to be held for a long time. And then the more advanced you are, the longer you can hold inversions like headstand. And it's very grounding to have your head to the earth and your hands to the earth at the same time. Just allow yourself to receive what the earth has to offer to you. It's quite a lot. Those of you who are in Shirsasana 2 headstand, make your way down. Try to place your feet where they started as you're able. And we're going to take 1 more breath here. Go a little bit deeper through your legs, those of you who are in Prasarita Padottanasana. And then we're going to inhale and come up. Walk your hands forward. Place your hands to the hips. Drop the tail, lift the chest. Inhaling, coming all the way up. Toe heel in a little bit. And now this time, you're going to turn your left foot in about 30 degrees. And your right foot, so it's facing the top of your mat. Extend your arms for triangle. Inhale, lengthen. And on the exhale, extend out and over to the right, putting your right hand behind your right ankle. Left arm up. Engage your left leg. Engage your right leg. Pull your belly in. Turn your chest away from the mat. Lengthen your spine. Towards the neck. Strengthen the legs. Lengthen the right side body away from the right hip. Turn the waist more. Turn the chest more. If it's comfortable for you, turn your neck and look up at your left thumb. I'm going to take this pose into half moon. Place your left hand on your hip. Bend your right knee deeply. Move your right hand forward 6 to 12 inches. Find a comfortable spot for your hand. Pinky toe side of the foot. Take an inhale, lengthen on the exhale, lift. 1 movement if you're able. Standing into your right leg, lengthening through your left, hip height only. If you're comfortable, you extend the left arm towards the sky. Suck in your low belly, lift the chest more. Then you can turn and look up at your thumb. Exhale. Place the feet down. Use your hands for balance. Stepping the feet side by side. Bending your knees. Sitting down into your chair. Utkatasana. Bring your hands to heart center. Take an inhale. Lengthen. On the exhale, take your left elbow to the outside of your right thigh. Turn and twist your chair. If you'd like to open your pose, put your left hand down and your right arm up. When you open the pose, you use the hand on the ground to help you lengthen through the left side body on this side. And then you can sit back more deeply. Lift the chest more. Turn better. Watch the knees. Don't let them shift. Side by side. Good. Come center. Look up halfway. Step or jump it back. And lower. Chaturanga. Inhale for upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing fabulous dog. 2 breaths. Look up. Step or jump. Exhale and fold in. Inhale, come all the way up and bring your hands to your heart. Good. This is a great place to grab a sip of water if you need some. And then we're going to move into a pose called Easy Bird of Paradise. I'm going to bring you through Warrior 2, Parshvakonasana, into Easy Bird of Paradise. Don't worry if you don't know the Sanskrit, it's fine. I'm going to guide you through step by step. Come to the top of your mat. And you've done these poses already, the Warrior 2 and the side angle flank. So now your body's nice and warmed up. On an inhale, raise the arms up, way up. And on the exhale, bow down, Uttanasana, forward bend. Look up halfway. And now step or jump back and lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take your left foot up for Warrior 2. Look to the right. Take an inhale breath, get taller, longer through the spine. On the exhale, extend over to the left. Bring your left arm in front of your left ankle. Put the right hand on your hip. Take an inhalation breath. Use your left hand onto your block or the floor. If your forearm elbow needs to be on your thigh, that's fine too. Lengthen your left side body more. Turn the ribs away from the mat. We're going to open the chest up. Open the inner thighs apart as well. And now bind. Take your left arm under and your right arm behind. It would be perfectly fine, those of you that are more beginner level, so that's like the first 7 years of your practice, just to give perspective. You can just stay at this point working on your binding. Those of you that are able to bind, left arm is under, right arm is behind. And we're just going to do the simple version where what I want you to do is just turn both your feet so they face alongside of your mat. And then walk the feet closer together. Stand in your right leg and lift your left thigh up. Come upright. Draw the shoulder blades down. Move the hands further down towards the tailbone. Take an inhale, strengthen your standing leg, lift the chest, and on the exhale, straighten your left leg up. Keep it very close to the body. Work to straighten the leg more. Wake up your feet. We're going to come back through Parshvakonasana, so we'll all meet up where we left off in Parshvakonasana, placing the left foot down, toes toward the top of the mat, right leg straight back, toes turned in slightly. Release the binding, everyone. Take one full breath in Parshvakonasana. Beautiful. Place your hands to the floor, step back and lower. Flow through a vinyasa. We'll all meet up in downward facing dog. Take your right foot, step it forward, Warrior 2. Look over your left shoulder. Take an inhale breath, lengthen through the spine. As you exhale, extend, slide over to the right, lengthening as much as you can, putting the hand down in front of the ankle, bringing the other hand onto your hip. Use the hand that's on the ground or the forearm on the thigh or hand that's on the block, wherever you're at. Use it to help lengthen through the right side body. Strengthen your left leg more. Turn the ribs away from the floor, lifting, opening through the chest. Shoulder blades are down. Bind. Right arm under, left arm behind. Once you have your binding, whatever you did on the other side, you're going to repeat over here. Those of you moving into Easy Bird of Paradise, turn your feet so that they face the left side of your mat. Bring your feet towards one another. Toe heeling in, stepping in, whatever kind of motion you are able to do. And then you stand into your left leg and lift up your right. When you get upright, slide the binding in your hands closer to your tailbone. Draw your shoulder heads back. Squeeze them in. Take an inhale breath. Strengthen in your standing leg. On the exhale breath, straighten both your legs more. Lifting right leg upward towards the sky, keeping the leg in near your body. Wake up your feet, both feet. One more breath. If you're feeling a little fancy, you can look away from your leg that's in the air. Turning the chest more. Good. Come back through Parshvakonasana, placing your right foot down. Bringing the left foot back. Straight left leg. Bent right leg. No binding anymore. One full breath in Parsvakonasana. Good. Put the hands to the floor. Step back and lower. Inhaling. Exhaling. Downward facing dog. 2 breaths. Bring your feet side by side. On an inhale breath, lift up your left leg. On the exhale, bring the left knee towards the left wrist. Bring the left ankle towards the right hip. This is half pigeon. Go ahead and lower your leg, your hips, pelvis down onto the ground. Right leg is stretching back. We're going to bring the left buttock all the way down onto the ground. So this is a variation on the half pigeon that everyone can do, and you don't have to use a prop. So it's nice, especially at home if you don't have the blankets or the blocks handy. Move your left shin. Once you're on your left buttock, you should be able to take your hands and literally move your shin forward so it comes parallel to the top of your mat. Foot is flexed. The right leg that's extended back, turn it so your foot is facing towards the right side of your mat. You don't want the top of the knee down in this one or the top of the foot down in this one. You want to turn the leg so that the knee and the foot are facing the right on this side. Take an inhale breath. Hands on either side of your shin at the top of your mat. Lengthen and then drag your ribs forward over your shin. Place your forehead onto the floor. If you can't get your forehead onto the floor, take your fists and stack them one on top of the other and put your head onto your stacked fists. And we're going to work into your hips. When you inhale, notice if you're holding any tension into your shoulders because you're trying to avoid the tension that's in your hips. And consciously relax your face and relax your shoulders. So this is the kind of pose where when we're stuck in a situation that we didn't expect or that we don't want, we don't think we want it, we can get agitated and put responsibility or blame somewhere else as opposed to just allowing ourselves to be with what is. So allow yourself to be with what is. If your hips are tight, let them take the responsibility. It's okay. Be nurturing. But don't let your shoulders and your face and other areas in your body take the brunt or take the punishment for something that's going on somewhere else. Allow yourself to, in a very nurturing and kind, compassionate way, breathe into your hips. I have to do this all the time. It takes a lot for some of us to crack open the hips. Slowly bring yourself upright. Stay on this side. Lift through your left arm and side body. Take your left elbow to the sole of your left foot. This is a twist. Now, if you cannot get your elbow to come into the sole of your foot, that's okay. You can just put your elbow anywhere along your shin that you're able. Make a fist with your left hand. Palm it with your right. Turn and twist your chest away from the mat. Amp up your back leg. Lengthen through it more. And release. Place your hands down. Come back into downward facing dog. Take your time. Okay, we're going to do the other side. Bring your feet side by side. Lift up through your right leg. And bring your right leg forward into the half pigeon. Put your right knee near your right wrist. Bring your right foot across towards your left hip. Lower your shin, your leg, your pelvis down onto the mat. Your back leg extending back. Drop onto your right buttock. And then use your hands, move your right shin so it comes parallel to the top of your mat. Flex that foot. Turn your left leg so the knee and the foot are facing the left. Bring your hands on either side of your forward shin. Take an inhale breath. Lengthen up, and on the exhale, drag your chest forward. I'm going to take a few breaths here. Consciously relax into your shoulders. For many of us, the poses that are constantly moving are very stimulating. We feel like we're doing something, accomplishing something, and we tend to like them, even if they're difficult. And then you get into something like this, where it is very deep in the body, emotionally and physically, and it's still, it's quiet, and you can tell that there's a lot going on, but there's no motion to take your focus away from what is going on. If this is the kind of pose that is difficult for you, this is the kind of pose that you need to be doing a lot more of. This type of a pose will be your greatest teacher. One more breath. And slowly come up. We're going to stay on this side. Now inhale through your right arm, way up. And on the exhale, take your elbow to the sole of your right foot. Now put your elbow anywhere along that shin that you can. Make a fist with your right hand. Palm it with your left. Lengthen on the inhale. Press the elbow down into the earth. Lengthen through the right side body. On the exhale, turn and twist. So folks will ask me, how am I supposed to be aligned in this? Shoulder over shoulder. So if your left shoulder is rolling towards the floor, you have gone too far maybe for your body, or you just need to amp it up a little bit more. Lengthen through the side body on the right side. Exhale, turn, twist more. Wake up your back leg. Send it back. And you can also press your foot into your arm and your arm into your foot. Open that hip better. Turn the chest more. And then what do you do with your head? You can relax your head down onto your shoulder or onto the floor. It really depends how open you are. Taking one more breath here. Good. Let's come back into downward facing dog now. We're going to move into an inversion. So if you do not do forearm balance, then I would suggest that you can either do headstand, or you can put your legs up the wall, or if you have a block, you can put a block underneath your sacrum. And we're going to come into Pincha Mayurasana through dolphin. So those of you who are taking a different variation, you can go ahead and set yourselves up. And if you're going to do forearm balance, place your forearms down onto the ground. If you're not proficient at this pose, you need to use a wall, and it's not something, if you've never tried it before, that you would do at home. So if you're not used to doing it, don't do it. However, do get your legs up, because we've done a lot of twisting. We're going to take the forearms down onto the ground and tuck the toes under, lift the hips up, and walk the toes towards the nose. The head does not touch the floor. Those of you that are able to come up into Pincha Mayurasana, forearm balance, lift one leg and then the other. And we'll hold for 15 breaths. Now when you're into forearm balance, freestanding, it is helpful to lengthen from the shoulder down to the elbow, to lengthen from the mid-forearm, on the top of the mid-forearm, towards the wrist through the fingers. Press firmly into the thumb and index finger side of the hand. Act as though you're looking away from the floor with your chest. Allow your breastbone to come towards the head. So you don't want to look behind you, but rather look forward and lift the chest towards your head without sinking. Amp up your legs. Rotate the thighs internally. Keep the low belly in. And it's that balance between keeping the low belly in and lifting the chest that holds you there. Now find the freedom that's in your breath. So even when the pose requires a lot of control, there's still freedom within it. In fact, the more able you are to understand the pose, the more freedom you actually have. Make your way down into child's pose, balasana. Knees together, tops of the feet down, hands next to ankles, forehead onto the ground, palms facing up. And you'll be here for a few breaths. If you tend to hold a lot of tension in your neck and shoulders while you're in balasana, child's pose, take an interlaced grip behind you, lift your arms up and then bring them over so that your trapezius, that diamond-shaped muscle that attaches up at the back of the skull and goes down into the mid-upper back and across the shoulders, tends to get pulled, specifically in women who are a little bit less strong in the upper body naturally. It's a great adjustment. I use it all the time. Go ahead and slowly round up. You're going to turn around and lie down onto the back and take happy baby. Lying on your back. Split open the thighs, bend the knees towards the chest, open the legs. Reach up and grab the instep of your foot. If you're more flexible, you can keep your shoulders down on the ground. You can dive through your legs and grab the outer edges of your feet into your hands. And begin to rock back and forth, side to side, east to west, massaging into your spine and your kidney band. Keep your feet flexed. Keep breathing. Balance out your sides and come center. Take a deep inhale. Staying in your pose on the exhale, give yourself a super good squeeze. And then place your feet onto your mat. And move your hips over to the left. Open your arms to the right and left at shoulder height. Pull your knees into your chest. And on the exhale, drop your knees over to the right. Let the legs come all the way over. Even if your right shoulder comes up off the floor, it's fine. Get knee over knee, hip over hip. And if you're able to rotate from the waist, you can turn the waist and get both shoulders to come down, but don't force the shoulder to the ground. The rotation in the spine starts in the low back and works its way up. So work with the body. Consciously relax your diaphragm, dome-shaped muscle up underneath your rib cage. Relax a little bit there so you can take deep and full breaths all over all sides of your chest. And just notice the texture of your breath, the way that your breath feels in your body, the way that you feel emotionally, physically now, maybe compared to before you started practicing or even when you were midway through your practice. And then lift your top leg, followed by your bottom leg. Place your feet to the ground, move your hips over to the right. Pull your knees into your chest. And on exhale breath, drop your knees over to the left. If your outer shoulder comes up, that's okay. Knee over knee, hip over hip. Deep breaths. You may even get an adjustment where your back cracks a little bit. Beautiful. Twisting realigns the spine. And then lift your top leg, followed by your bottom leg. Come center. And we're going to rest in Shavasana. Extending each of your legs long. Smooth the flesh of your buttocks down towards the backs of your knees so that you don't have any compression in your low back. If you tend to suffer from low back achiness, especially now you weren't in the heat in your home, like it's not 102 degrees or 105 degrees, you can put a blanket underneath the calves and it alleviates some of the tension into the low back area. And you can bring your arms down by your sides. If you need to separate your shoulder blades, pull them apart, pull the shoulder blades down, and then bring your arms down. If you need to make one last adjustment, use your fingertips, smooth the flesh from the back of your neck up towards the crown of your head. Do not compress your throat. Arms down, palms facing up. Hands need to be below the heart. Eyes are closed. Shavasana. Resting. And at the end of class, I always read to you something. And so I will read you something today as well. This is from Deepak Chopra, from the book called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. This is from the law of least effort. It says, when you struggle against this moment, you're actually struggling against the entire universe. Instead, you can make the decision that today you will not struggle against the whole universe by struggling against this moment. This means that your acceptance of this moment is total and complete. You accept things as they are, not as you wish they were in this moment. This is important to understand. You can wish for things in the future to be different, but in this moment, you have to accept things as they are. When you feel frustrated or upset by a person or a situation, remember that you are not reacting to the person or the situation, but to your feelings about the person or the situation. These are your feelings, and your feelings are not someone else's fault. And when you recognize and understand this completely, you are ready to take responsibility for how you feel and to change it. And if you can accept things as they are, you are ready to take responsibility for your situation and for all of the events in your life that you see as problems. Because within every problem is the seed of an opportunity. I thank you so much for allowing me to teach you. Have a wonderful ice storm snow day from my home to yours. Namaste.